Well, here we are, a year later. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the misogynistic comments that Senator Nathan Dahm made about our Vice President Kamala Harris last year about how well she could work things through a straw. And it's been a year since we've heard anything from our Senate Pro Tem Greg Treat on exactly what those consequences were supposed to be. So about a year ago, in April of 2021 to be exact, Nathan Dahm, Senator Nathan Dahm from our state legislature, said some things on an interview with the Fox station here about Kamala Harris and how good she would be at sucking things through a straw, or whether she would be good on her back or on her knees. Well, some people took some issue with this. Actually, a lot of people took issue with this, including Republican women in our legislature took issue with this. And you know the Democrats did, of course. So what happened, right? Greg Treat came out, said, hey, this isn't the way we want to conduct business. We want to respect women. We understand how it is that they got to where they are. We don't want to conduct business this way. So what did Nathan Dahm do? Well, he doubled down. And then Greg Treat said, yeah, there will be consequences. So exactly what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Greg Treat put out a tweet. But it was on his official account, by the way. It's official account. So that's got to count for something, right? So at least he put it on an official account that, we don't agree with this. Of course, you don't get anything on the floor of the Senate, do you? He's not going to come out there and say, hey, look, we don't want to do business this way. Not even that. We don't even get as much as that. Because really, a censure would be a lot better, right? Come out there, hey, Nathan Dahm, you said this. We don't agree with this. We need to do something about this. You need to be something. This is something we don't want to do. We can't even do that. Can't even do that. Can't do that. And I'm going to tell you why Greg Treat can't do that. Because, one, Greg Treat doesn't have that kind of power. He just doesn't. I know he's the leader of the Senate and he's a Republican and he's got some pretty out there conservative ideals. But he's really a weak leader, you see, because when it comes down to it, if he was to go out on the podium and say, hey, I want a resolution right now admonishing Senator Nathan Dahm on what he said and puts it to a vote, you know what will happen? Pretty much they will not vote for it. It won't pass, and it'll do a few things. Because one, it's going to show Greg Treat to be a really weak leader. If he can't get his people together to vote on a resolution that he's for, well, that makes him look weak. The other thing it does is it absolutely drives home, and in a regular meeting of the Senate, that these misogynistic words, these sexist things that Nathan Dahm said are absolutely conservative values. They absolutely are. They are conservative values. To make lewd jokes about women and how they got ahead in life. They're absolutely good with this. Obviously, because Greg Treat could only put out a tweet on his official account. That's all we can get out of it. We don't get anything else because he couldn't do it. Because I guarantee you, even if he got up on that podium and said, hey, we don't want to conduct our business this way, the Republicans in the room, the crazies over there on the right, they will get up and walk out. Just like they did to the pastor, that guest pastor that showed up, who did it. He's the only one who actually did it on the floor of the Senate. And what happened? Well, Republicans, they stood up and they walked out. Because they didn't agree with the message, you see. They didn't agree with, it's not that possibly they didn't agree with the message that this was wrong. What they disagreed with was that Nathan Dahm should be held accountable. And that's pretty much conservatism today. When have you seen a Republican or a conservative be held to account by one of their own? When does it happen? It doesn't. And I'll tell you why it doesn't. Because, see, Republicans, conservatives, see it as a loss for them. Hey, man, any kind of public perception to where we look bad is going to be bad for us. It's going to be bad for our voters. It's going to make people not as apt to go vote for us. It's going to suck morale. And yeah, it will. Exactly. That's what it will do. So they want to avoid that. And how do they avoid it, though? Well, they avoid it by being cowards. They think that's the best policy. We're going to be cowards about this, and we're just not going to do anything. And then we'll just see if it'll just go away. See? And then, hey, I get to do a show a year later saying, hey, it didn't really go away. As a matter of fact, I'm going to drive it home that these are conservative values. They absolutely are. The values of misogyny, the values of sexism, the values of how women got ahead in life is exactly what we're talking about here. And why are they conservative values? Because they admit they are. They admit it. They absolutely do. As much as Greg Treat wants to come out with a tweet and say it isn't, until people, leaders in the conservative party, the Republican Party, can come out like Greg Treat and say, hey, we absolutely all in coalition believe we shouldn't be doing this, then those are absolutely conservative values, you see. And that's how it works. Because Greg Treat doesn't have a coalition of a majority of Republicans to get any of that through the Senate. So he can't do it, or else he will look weak. And he will make Republicans look like the misogynistic buttholes that they are. Can't do that, right? That'll really make them look bad. So what does he do? Oh, we'll handle it internally. So they handle it internally. What does that mean? Oh, that means we're never going to release anything to the press. Nothing's ever going to actually, what that means is nothing's going to happen. We'll handle it internally. Right. So what are you going to do? We don't know, because they're going to handle it internally. But we handled it. How did you handle it? Well, that was internally. See? Because really internally handling means they didn't do a damn thing. That's exactly what that means. He didn't do squat. Because all he did was put out a tweet. I know what he did. That's what he did. He put out a tweet. That's what he did. Put out a tweet saying, we don't want to do business this way. And then cowed the Republican women who were up in arms about this to accept it, and we want to do this internally, on the quiet and the down low. Because you know it's going to make Republicans look bad if this gets out. So let's get this out there. Let's get this out there. This needs to make them look bad. They need to come out and deny this. They need to come out and totally oppose what Nathan Dahm did. But they won't do it. And they won't. And so we need to use that. We really need to use that as a weapon, as a cudgel every time. These are conservative values. They absolutely are. And until Greg Treat can do it, because he can't, I know that. But still, until he can get a coalition of Republicans together so that he can come out and say, hey, in our rules of the Senate, in our rules of our legislature, we don't want this kind of conduct. In the legislature, outside of it, to the media, to the press, don't do this. This is not ethical behavior. And until they can do that, then these are their values. And we need to drive it home that conservative values include making lewd jokes about women and how they got ahead in life. This is absolutely what they believe. It's absolutely what Nathan Dahm believes, and he's running for U.S. Senate. Absolutely believes women get ahead in life on their backs, on their knees, bent over, heels up. I think that's exactly what he said, even on his first time and his double down. That's what he said. So, but I guarantee you, if you go and you say to a Republican woman, hey, you know, what do you think of these values? Because, you know, that actually happened. Stephanie Bice was out there touting these wonderful Republican values, and I asked, hey, these values are so wonderful, how about Nathan Dahm? So, actually what I got was her husband came on there and didn't like it so well, so he pretty much threatened me with physical violence in person if I was to do anything. So, or say something like that in a public forum where he was at or something like that. So I just thought that was something comical in a way, actually. Here we are, a U.S. sitting representative, and her husband's so, you know, violent and outrageous. So I did that. He took real offense to it. Oh my God, that's just so offensive, you know? Yeah, well, say something about that to Nathan Dahm. But he won't. That won't happen. Why? Because he's a conservative. You see, we can't have conservatives look bad. Not only can we not have conservatives look bad, we can't attack one of our own. See, because if we do that one, we're going to be labeled rhinos. You see, Republican in name only, because as much as we like to say that we're the free thinkers, everybody else is sheep. If you don't toe the Republican conservative line, well, they're going to name you a rhino quicker than they can drum you out of the party. That's exactly what they do. Free thinkers, and not sheep. Right. Actually, what it is a big old bag of conservative cowardice. Is what it is. And so that's what we have right here. Senator Greg Treat, a year later, saying, hey, something's going to happen. There will be consequences. And what are those consequences? A tweet. On his official account, though. It's official. So it's on his Twitter, not the podium of the Senate or any kind of, anything. Nothing. We don't get anything saying, no, let's not do this. Only on a tweet do we get it. One time, too, buried in the feed. So there you go. That's what you have. That's what you get. That's what you get with our Senate leader here in Oklahoma. Pretty cowardly, if you ask me. I mean, you're going to come out real tough. And then you're going to find out that they're just going to turn their backs and walk on you if you do that. And so you say, we're going to handle it internally. And I'm never going to say what happened. Because, well, that would just make us look bad. And that's Greg Treat for you. It's exactly what he's doing. It's exactly what he's done with this. And conservatives, Republicans, hope this goes away. That's what they want. They want this to go away. Because, see, they really don't want to be labeled that their conservative values are so crappy, which they are. And this is just one point in them. Misogyny is a conservative value. Telling lewd jokes about women and how they get ahead in life is a conservative value. It absolutely is. It goes in with a lot of what they do and a lot of what they say. See, because one of this is, in order for a coward like Nathan Dahm to feel relevant, see, he's got to diminish the vice president in some way. I mean, kind of bring her down a little. So, he heals up. Now, right, Nathan Dahm? I mean, that's what he was learned, all right. Right? I mean, obviously, you kind of wonder where these things come from at times, right? He was homeschooled by his mother. Then you wonder if that's really what she taught him. I can't imagine his mother would teach him this stuff. I can't imagine that. But this is how he was raised. Obviously, it's how he was taught, homeschool. So, kind of wonder. I want to talk to his mom and say, hey, do you agree with what your son is saying about women? You raised him. You instilled him with the values he had and taught him the lessons he learned. Is this really what you taught him? I'd really like to know. And I'd really like to know just if Greg Treat is ever going to grow a pair. That's really what I want to know, because all I see from him on anything, when it comes to redistricting maps, he cried, the Democrats have this dark money map, and they won't tell us who their money is, and then they cut out the military bases. Oh, this guy Ryan Martinez from Edmond, total wuss, talks about this doesn't protect the military bases. Whoa. Doesn't protect military bases. We're talking about redistricting maps so that people can have representation in a republic-style government, right? And he's worried about protecting military bases. Really? So let me get this straight. So in order to protect military bases, you should be honored. You should be required to give up your rights, your freedoms, your vote, your voice, so that we can protect the military bases. That's what this coward wants you to do. Yeah, man, these Democrats, they don't want to save these bases because they want to vote. Bastards. Really? That's Ryan Martinez for you. That's his big cry and spiel on, why Democrats are saying, hey man, that map's really gerrymandered. Everything's like 40-60. Everything. You added 10% Republicans into District 5. You totally gerrymandered Oklahoma County. You've got 3 of Oklahoma's 5 districts going right through the heart of Oklahoma City. And that's not gerrymandered. You got to be kidding me. That is a level of cowardice that's hard to describe coming out of Representative Martinez from Edmond. Well, Senator Nathan Dahm, Senator Greg Treat. They're the cowards of the week, cowards of the year, because here we are, a year later after Greg Treat said, by God, there will be consequences. And yet we don't have any. Oh, it's a tweet from Greg Treat and his official account. Well, this is Across the Desk with Kit Fairchild, and we'll see you next week.